just going to go straight and welcome Bolanle Olutose, one of the economists and research analysts from Financial Derivatives Company, to Commodities Market Update. And I'm saying good morning with this cup of coffee.
Morning.
Good morning. You had one today?
No.
Not yet.
No.
Then we shouldn't have this conversation. I want to have this conversation with a coffee, with one of the coffee fans, as it were. But again, we'll get to coffee a little bit later on. That's about my second cup, halfway down, half filled, half empty. But the big story around the economic issues for our market still revolve around some of the burning economic issues, which has to do with oil, which is basically diesel and petrol, the usual culprit, and then electricity.
Yeah. So looking at the burning issues for today, we have Azura power plant in Edo has been deployed, producing about 450 megawatts, adding to the national grid. We also have oil prices declining by about 1.71% to $71 per barrel, which is still great. We also have the Business Confidence Index released by the Central Bank of Nigeria, suggesting that the index has actually increased to about 24.5 points. Last month in March, well, from 14 points in February. So it's great news, considering the fact that obviously we've seen an improvement in the state of the economy. We've seen, increased dollar availability. We've seen changes within the economy. We've seen inflation numbers, taper down over time. We've seen that, there's more activity within the economy when it comes to, business activity. And also we've seen that the parallel market rate has remained stable, and finally, not the less, we've seen power, and we've seen that power has actually remained stable, but it has increased, but it's still well below the 4,000 megawatts.
Yeah, it's a bit of there's a news that we suffered a bit of a meltdown.
Yeah.
Yes, in the last 48 hours, thereabout, the last couple of days.
Yeah.
But that doesn't obviate the fact that the Azura IPP, I thought the Azura IPP coming on stream will generate so much headlines, so much in the news, but it didn't. Well, because this is one mega project for Nigeria.
It is. It's a suggestion that we're moving in the right direction, but at the same time, if you look at the numbers, it only generated about 450 megawatts to the national grid, which is only about 10% of what the
installed capacity
should be. Exactly. So it's great news. We're seeing developments around the country.
This is an independent power project.
Yes.
I think we should underscore that this is an independent power project. All that the government did was provide some guarantee to the investors.
Yes,
and that was also the entire money end to end is a private sector money, not a single dime from the government.
But it's part of the suggestion of, when it comes to a mixed economy, you also have situations where you need private individuals to also invest, because they're the ones that actually have the money. At this point, the government keeps struggling with, finding funds to fund infrastructural development and all that. And if up until this point they're not able to provide enough power to generate for the economy, then we should see more private investment.
So the Azura project, the Azura IPP in Edo State, proves that yes, the government could just provide the environment and let the private sector bring in the money.
Yeah, well, it seems like a good plan as long as private money is secure. It's not a situation where they've invested money in it and they're not able to get returns from it, because that's another aspect of this.
So that speaks to business confidence.
Yes, it speaks.
You need to be sure that yes, I know the Azura IPP project's been on the table since the last administration, and the issues around who provides the guarantee, how long it was delayed. Then we get the current administration fast track it, and now it's done.
Yeah.
And we say thank you to everyone. So business confidence is important, and if that index, according to the Central Bank March 2018 report, 24.5, means that somehow the outlook from purchasing managers, industry,
from the business side of things, the numbers suggest that more business owners seem confident about the state of the economy. They seem confident about how their own businesses are going to turn around within the next few months. But at the same time, the only downside to this is when we look at the general state of the economy at the moment, power is still an issue for them. You know, we still have the political instability we face now. Elections are coming up. So those are the downside risks to the sustainability of this business confidence.
So in terms of what is good news and what is not so good news, maybe I'm going to change this from bad news to what not so good, is that yes, business confidence is up.
Yeah.
That's only one good news. Then we have two not so good news. Brent price down 1.71%. We can still do. We can still.
Yeah, it's still
hold out. We're still above 71.
Yes, we are. Yeah, we are. It's just the same old scenario where the U.S. At some point, you know, most individuals around the economy were expecting that the attacks in Syria were going to have, you know, significant influence on the oil prices. But from what we understand, from about 2011, Syria stopped producing, you know, at capacity when it comes to oil production. So they do get their oil from Iran. If there was any significant impact or significant effect on Iran, then that's when we can actually say that we can see, you know, oil prices.
But Iran isn't seeing anything at
exactly.
least for now.
So it's just Syria. So there was that initial impact on oil prices, but I think now the impact has, you know,
fizzled out.
Yes, it has.
And everybody's back to reason in terms of pricing.
And the stable situation of U.S. still being a threat within the oil industry.
Yes. So let's move on to this coffee business. And this is very interesting.
It is. It is. When it comes to coffee, coffee is actually quite interesting in the sense that it's one of the most popular drinks of the world.
It is popular with me.
Yes, it's quite popular, especially within the European countries. We have, according to what our study shows, is the fact that, you know, around 125 million people depend on coffee a day. At least one cup of coffee.
It's amazing, and it keeps me puzzled.
It does.
The coffee beans come mainly from Africa, from Rwanda. Nigeria used to be a major coffee producer. The entire Kwara and Kogi state used to be a coffee belt.
Yeah.
Those things have since disappeared. Then you have Kenya. Then you have Ethiopia, Uganda, Tanzania, down to Zambia. All that southern to East African corridor, all the way to the north of Africa, that corridor to the Horn of Africa. It's all about coffee region. But those who drink this are mainly in Europe.
Well,
Finland, Sweden, Iceland, the UK.
Well, we find that within those countries, if you notice, it's more or less like a culture when it comes to coffee drinking. For them, it's like a daily ritual. I wake up in the morning, go to work, I need to have a coffee a day. And it also plays into the aspects of coffee when it comes to addiction. We also think that the caffeine in them is what drives, you know, this consumption of coffee a day.
Tell me if I'm addicted, and I'm touching it. It is an addiction. I've got to take a second look at this.
Well,
I can hardly do a day without this.
Well, in Nigeria, we find that, you know, it's a developing culture. You don't have that many people or a significant portion.
Maybe that's why we don't have Starbucks here yet.
Yeah, we don't.